Раз, два, три.
1, 2, 3. Good day. We are happy to greet you at the Week of International Business in the Republic of Bashkortostan. And the topic of this session is digital transformation, which is a very general notion. Many people still don't understand it, but nevertheless, digital transformation is a deep transformation of products with the help of breakthrough technologies. It doesn't just increase the productivity, but as a tool, it moves the company forward. And very often the digitalization process within the company is partial, not a complex one. The company spends money on some single elements and then gets disappointed and does not continue the digitalization. And today we will speak on how the real sector companies implement the complex model of digitalization, how they implement robotics, how they implement digitalization, and how do they need to build their work with the foundations. Let me get you acquainted with our respected speakers. The first floor is given to Rasul Taipov, Deputy Minister of the Ministry of Digital Development of the Governmental Administration of the Republic of Bashkortostan. Dear colleagues, I'm happy to greet you. It's an important event for me. Why? It's necessary during our interaction to get together in a circle like ours and to understand where we should move to and what is there for everyone in this work. And I would like to understand who I'm speaking to. IT people, please raise your hands. And the customer companies who would be interested in, okay, 4 hands, not bad, 6 hands. Okay, it's a very correct focus today, and we are going to speak today about IT, and the companies will also see themselves. And in my opinion, today here in Russia, we have a number of difficulties, but there are unique opportunities which, anyway, are difficult to tackle without the correct organization of resources and correct approaches. In my opinion, that here in this region, we evolutionize in the right direction. On the right hand, there is the Association of Digital Technologies, Dialogue, the general director, and which has been set up in 2016. And then in that year, we have started to work on preparation of the today's situation, and I hope that many of you will hear about the motivation and opportunities for further development. In the last year, due to our partners from Bashinform's communication, due to Sergey, we have set up the project office for digital transformation. The last year was quite successful in mastering the model, which can be applied from the point of view of federal grants. We have mastered the cycles of this process. They were quite successful. And we could see that as any large organization, we have some limit of growth from the point of view of digitalization, which is actually the personnel which can be formed into teams rather quickly and implement the goals set up by our customers. Today it's going to be discussed, and on the slide I also reflected it. And we are getting together into one structure. At that, it should be noted that the basic unit of the problem I mentioned, personnel, deficit, competences, is provided by another association which has been set up even before in 2013, which unites all the higher schools and the Academy of Sciences, which is a large unification led by the Republic government, shows already the effect which can be attained. And from the point of view of the correct participation of the government, as we can see it, we should provide the opportunities in forming the system for exchange of information and the key system where which people would trust to. And this system is created so that you could understand that this is a system for right players, the players who are responsible and fulfill their obligations. And this is the role played by us in all this system. And we also need to be recognizable to get new clients. Down on the slide, you can see the PLARS. We focus on the program of industry productivity improvement, and what this plus means, effectiveness, RF. It says that we are open and we can build the correct relations from the point of view of interests of the region with the large federal players, Informsvязь, Rostelecom. The connection with them is very important from the point of view of industrial expertise, and also our colleagues who are responsible for digitalization of national programs. On this level, we start to work nowadays, and this big ecosystem of this big office, it manages the best expert pools available in the Russian Federation today, and all the players who are dealing with these issues today in the Russian Federation, so that the companies and in the first place could get the audit, the production of the most important ecosystem complex solution, which doesn't tackle only with separate segments, but is acting as a complex ecosystem focused on increasing your productivity from the point of view of money and economy. It's useless to talk to the companies as IT specialists, explaining them some unknown things, but we need to explain them how much they should invest and how much they will receive in the end. And we are prepared to offer this result to you. The following slides are showing you the situation of the current year. We cannot guarantee the next year. Here we are speaking about the grants. They are rather formidable. The current year allowed the companies to reduce their costs up to 90% for their investments, and it was very, very profitable. We will see what is going to happen in the next year, but with audit expertise and the prepared technical assignment for implementation, it's already a good story. if a rather large company will be prepared to invest, understanding the effects for themselves, I hope that we will be able to find the necessary mechanisms. We are quite flexible. We built everything not from the point of view of some indices, but we are evaluating the situation from the point of view of use, of profit, of the effect, so we can help them to get these effects. So the large ecosystem allows to do it and give us some various more interesting options for digitalization. The scheme used by us up till now is represented here. The first is just a test, a testing thing where we get some small grant and small task to be fulfilled in order the company could get acquainted with this and then start willing to continue. The next stage is already a complex supervision. And today we have to work on the second stage. If a company is big enough, today the time is changing very, very fast and changing the initial conditions, and we need to get a fast result, and we have to invest in this work very fast. And we are a team which is prepared to do it. And we as a region which is investing in digitalization of our economy. And we will look for all the necessary resources. And our key advantage of our region, you see, this is the horizontal communication, horizontal links. We are sitting horizontally like here. And this helps us to implement our plans. Thank you. And I would like to give the floor to Mr. Nishev, Sergei Nishev, General Director of Power Rostelecom.
Thank you, Alexei. And Rasul Fanilevich already introduced me already. I'm the head of the Bashny from Svyazi. It's a separate PJSC group of companies. We have come not only in Bashkortostan, I'll tell about a bit more, and what we can bring and for the IT companies and for the IT people and for the IT companies. We faced huge challenges in 2022. So according with the complexity of connection, suppliers, we lost the suppliers, and digitalization became harder. We had a lot of foreign components, softwares that were providing our digitalization, and now we need next step. And I think the next step for the most of you, what I mean, the contractors, the customers, can be the complex transformation. We created it not out of nowhere. We did a lot of work with different companies, and now I will speak about some companies, but I would like to say that this office, as was mentioned before, is a community of developers, universities, and for Rostelecom, it's Bashny Telefon Svязь, Bashny from Svязь. We have everything for it. Why we call ourselves our digital partner, your digital partner. But if you look carefully, what we represent now, we are a company that we have people, first of all. It's experts that are here in Moscow, and in different regions of Russia. We have more than 100,000 people working. In Bashkortostan is 2,000 working people. We have engineers, not only engineers, but for example, our experts that are currently working in Moscow, probably today you're gonna see some of them. It will allow us to speak at one level with the people from the different industry sectors. Some ask, what is your advantage in comparison to other integrators or financial banks that are diversified through digitalization? And I say, let's see the sites of some company and where the digitalization is required. For example, somewhere in Korea, it's not in the cities. It starts somewhere distantly, in some distant territories. And even on these territories, we have engineers that can do their work. So one of the main parts of our work is financing. When we come to the customer and we're about to show what we can do, we already know they're gonna ask them for some money. It's already a done question. No, it's not like that. No, we're not coming for the money. We sometimes finance those products by ourselves. Sometimes it helps the industries, financial institutes. There are also grant support. We do that. We do grants, and we have some successful examples. And we often finance the projects with some distant term. And what about digitalization itself? Any number requires high internet signal. More than 700 million rubles were invested in Republic, and now we can see that it's one of the best networks in Russia. And we're not only provide with the signal all over the Bashkortostan, if we consider the whole country. So we can keep it, have a storage, because any digitalization requires good storage. Our CODs, our virtual realities, our structures, we provide it in complex. And now the main important is the security of the information, because we have example of the companies that received total lockouts due to the hacker attacks. And we can say that we, as the company that secures from the cyber attacks, the Gosuslugi, and during the attacks, the website did not stop. And we also secure your private information. But the main important thing probably now is our look into the future, our view. Sometimes we joke about it. Now it's 2024. That looks like 2035. Averagely, you can understand why, right? And the most interesting in the frame of our cooperation is that of the companies such as Rostelecom is the security. Is the partner that 90% of the orders are coming from it. Of course, they have no other way because they need to work. All right, let's move on. How do we work? There is, to be honest, one stage that is absent here on the scheme is the strategy, is where to move in a frame of digitalization and why he has to do it. Because sometimes the strategy is something that absent. Because different companies develop in their own ways. We arrive and see that somewhere is a handwork. Some companies use the modern technologies. And so different companies have different interests, different systems, and that zoo has different strategies, and sometimes the strategy is not understandable. Sometimes they don't have it at all, because we need to understand what we want and what we want to achieve. That's the first thing that we can help our people go out for to the industries. They also signed the agreement of not spreading private information. And of course, you can meet our IT specialists. Then we do the diagnosis of the company, the roadmap. We look for the source of finance. The industry, the company itself can be financed, and they can provide their own modernization, so-called. They have their own stages of digitalization. But sometimes it's not enough. The money is not enough, and that's when Rostelecom comes to play, and some other companies that can be connected with our help. And we start from the beginning and till the end. So the storage of the data, I already mentioned that it's secured CODs that are spread widely in our country. It's also provided security. We also provide the security, and we have the different repetitions of the CODs. So the security is solar GSOC. Sometimes they joke, because like every time, starting with school, collecting those guys that are talented, that are interested to develop as those, I don't know, fighters of the cyber wars. We not start even with the universities. We start from the schools even. And now they just brush their teeth and start the war, the cyber war. So we manage with this kind of work. It's manageable. And what the measures of the security, what we do? Routes of the companies, personnel, their condition, their health at the moment, the quality of work, the photography of the work day during the day. That can be done in different ways. Some of them are highly interested and has a very rapid effect. Sales, to mention, they can also be digitalized, and you don't have to forget about that. Even when a person speaks, we did some different projects, for example, at gas stations. So what the gas stationer talks with you about, or the cashier, there are special badges that have gather the information, and then the analysis, and you control that situation. And the sales rise up to 30%, and the call centers have the same thing. There are a lot of work that can be done. We have some industries that, I also mentioned the grant projects. We paid our attention on the agricultural industry, farming, cultivating, and I'll tell you what we can say what was done. And for the representative of the OPC, the control of the harvesting, of the digitalization of the fields, that was our history. Right, animal farming. You can know every cow looking by its face, and etc., etc. We did that for the industry, so to avoid mistakes on the industries. So for you to understand, big sides of making decisions that exist on every, and we have cases on every stage. And I'm going to mention, due to the timing, I'll just mention some of the industries. For example, Severstal, Sberbank, RGD. Sometimes, of course, Sberbank can do their own work, but we help. In total, we have a lot of industries that we do digital doubles when all the systems are connected and they digitalized, and we achieve it with help of the software that helps to read the data and later lead us to the automaticity. This is Sheremetyevo Airport. Lots of cases. For example, we don't have a lot of time, but I would like to say that as how we work, it's simply you can scan the QR code, give us a call, and we start working immediately, right after this meeting, and we will talk more. Thank you. Thank you very much, Sergey Konstantinovich, and this report shows how your business can be digitalized. And I would like to give a word to Andrei Pochodnya, Director for Digital Solutions for Industry, Rostelecom PJSC.
Hello, dear colleagues. Well, the atmosphere of our dialogue is very, very good, and perhaps against the principles I have changed the way of discussion having related to my direction, and the problems which we have to evaluate, the problems we meet in digitalization. The digitalization can be broken into 3 directions: engineering systems. Knowing to everyone here, we can have everything which relates to water supply, WEPA, tri-air, etc., engineering. The production processes, which is inside the company, developed in the framework of a digital solution, and the digitalization of business processes in production, which reduces the operational costs for these business processes. And by the results of the year, we can boast of many things. There are many new approaches. We have produced quite a number of interesting things, but we could make more. But what hinders us? Let us speak on this. I hope that among our audience there are business people, and this is the way which I want to share with you. As a state corporation, we could invest into your company more, but we didn't do it in the first place. Engineering systems, the projects related to automation of engineering systems, they are being used for a long time. Typical set of means, software from CAD, which allows saving your money 7 per 24 hours, 7 days per 24 hours. But colleagues forget that all the engineering infrastructure is related, well, including the mathematically. If you start finding a solution for one engineering system, for instance, water supply, you forget that it would influence other systems in your production site. If you look at the technology and the technical solutions and the people who are following the regulations of your production, then you will see what the influence is on the ready products. And here we need the complex approaches in automation of production systems, the systems of transformation of energy, when electric energy is transformed into mechanical energy, for instance, of a pump, where there is a wheel influencing the temperature, etc., which goes to the atmosphere, etc., etc. You take the technical characteristics of a pump. It seems engineering thing, but the feeding of the reverse contour is the automated management system. And you can see that there are different engineering systems which have to be embraced by one system in the framework of monitoring, management, and regulation. This is one of the goals in the framework of automation of engineering system. And it's not just toys which you can see on the screen. You can see a pump or turbine and manage it. No, the collection of data allows us to manage. The second stage is energy service. If for one season we are collecting data from the complex and find out the reasons why it was not effective, then we will invest into a pure energy service when we modernize, technically re-equip your systems to make them work better. Then we do not need much investment because we can confirm the financial effect up to the last kopeck, up to 1 ruble. Why don't we do it now? Because when we come to the company, we are given the journal, the magazine, where there are some events or data collected from the data meters, etc., and they are filled in one pen for all the days, for all the years. And to make a financially effective event, we need properly collected data. And the absence of this data is actually a problem. We need to provide the data and sensors in order to aggregate the data. On the basis of this collection of data, we can already plan the optimal modes of work of certain equipment. The production processes is also a big problem. Siemens, Schneider, ABB, such big companies have left our markets, and we are fighting here. From the 1st of January, we start the program of the exchange of the systems for the industrial complex to substitute the Siemens and ABB and add the functional which Siemens didn't have. Well, it's difficult to evaluate these problems in this way, but for a long time we didn't invest into domestic automatics because we actually were buying foreign systems. But we found out how to make the good products not worse than those from the West. And China is lagging here a little bit behind in designing and probing of schemes. And using this, we certainly are planning to enter this market and take all the automation here. We need reliable automation tools here. A lot of cases related to analytics has been implemented, modeling of physical processes in production when we identify flaws of the products long before this product is being processed. And it is related to the calculation of self-cost of the product in the point of transformation and the evaluation of the equipment of the machine long before the processing. I support my colleagues. Certainly, we have some difficulties in competences with the developers, and here I do not only speak about the high level of programming stuff, but we only need the specialists, the people who know very well the industry itself and the processes in this very industry, and the developers also are necessary for great projects. Well, in general, the line of this problem hinders us from going to larger investments, to larger companies, when there is no need to think why we do it. 1 million rubles is invested, and this investment is paid off within one heating season. The company should not be afraid to experiment, to go to pilot projects, to install the meters, digitalized data sets, design this on their companies. It will happen sooner or later. If you do it sooner, you become a competitive company. And we, as partners, we are prepared to provide our competencies to the companies. And it's clear that any factory should not be competent in IT issues. We, as IT specialists, we can cover this and support them with the cases I have mentioned before. This is it. Thank you very, very much. Thank you very much. And my question to Sergei Konstantinovich, how the issue with personnel is being solved, maybe setting up IT schools, clusters. How do you train your specialists and keep them? Thank you for your question. It's a very interesting question, because it seems to us that IT sphere is actually an area for young people, and we would like to make a couple of hackathons. We could get something real, but it doesn't happen. Well, not so far. Larger companies having money to invest, who can create the internal schools and digital clusters. They sometimes are successful in this. There are such tasks, and in our project office we have the Higher Schools Association, where we attract young guys and assist this process. What can we do on our part? We can provide the program for training so that young people could open their eyes, get into these projects at the very, very beginning while they are still training. But it's not possible just to give young people money and let them do something. No, it doesn't work this way. But on the stage of training, for instance, on my own example, I remember that I was very, very motivated when I was a student, and I wanted to try and do it. And these training programs and involvement of higher schools into this program for fighting projects, so to say, does not require a lot of risks. Thank you very much. And I would like to give the floor to Viktor Timoshin, the General Director of Lexema IT company.
Viktor Timoshin, CEO of Lexema IT company. Good afternoon. I have a little problem here.
Я хотел рассказать об одном из аспектов нашего бизнеса. Я директор компании Lexema.
I'm a director CEO of the Lexema company. We do a lot of services and different projects, and one of these projects have very highly interested because due to it's not traditional the direction, and I would like to cover more about this direction. RPA technologies is one of the highly rapid growing sectors of IT. It has very high economical efficiency, wide implementation of technologies in banks, in finance, or some government works. And why the trend appeared now? Because conditions appeared for the implementation of IT technologies and for the good work. So the flow of the work on the entrance and on the exit of the data, there are electronic data. For example, company has a lot of companies that do a simple job, and the simple job is, for example, of the data work, and they work in the digital, for example, like email, and they transfer that information, double it and divide it, and such systems are exist almost in every company, and there are thousands of workplaces, even only in Bashkortostan, not mentioning Russia. And the significant part of that work is robotization. The role of RPA community, in my opinion, is highly underrated, and they consider it as a toy. But I think slowly the situation will change, and this technology implementation will be higher. So there was a rapid growth in our organization management. Previously, organization worked with by hands, and a lot of people had to cooperate their movements, their work. And now, for the last 20, 30 years, situation has been changed, and all the paperwork, most of the paperwork turned into electronic format, digital format. And it depends on the style of the work of the organization. So robotization may provide such a rapid growth for the automation, like, and the spheres that can be automized, they can be use the robotization. And of course, those robots do it better, faster, with no mistakes. And also I support work so that people don't have to do this boring routine. So what are the tasks that need to be done? First of all, lose all the routine work. The other work is the integration of the resources, and the first thing that comes to my mind is that has no alternative is, for example, integration of with the websites of the jurisdictional system, judicial system, and with all the different web resources that are implemented at the company. For example, to check the counteragent, can be robots can be developed. The second category that we face very often in our work, and it can be implemented for any company, is the work of the different divisions of the work. For example, when the robot demands for the information, and employees need to be asked to send the information, so that information can be overlaid on the robots. So the robots can gather information, make reports, annual reports, and send information for all people that requires that information. Such type of work, it's in a big companies, is very cheap and it can be robotized very fast. The amounts are less than 1,000,000 ruble, and it takes less time, less than a month. But informational service, for example, when we work with some kind of category of the users of the information, we can robotize that process. For example, the example of such a case can be with the work of the debtors, with a system of robots that send signals to debt, so they won't forget, so they can create some pressure, some jurisdictional work to overlay it. It can be overlaid from the robots. It's cheaper than work in such way with the help of people, personnel, and it's much proofer and simpler. And management changes. If we want to make a game changer, robots will take a couple of hours, then take 10 months of internship for the personnel. And the development, IT development, is when IT can check a lot of range of parameters, and in case of bad situations, they can solve those issues. And the main issue on the companies is that people not very often check the information. Sometimes they forget, or it's very hard to make someone do their job. So what are the lags for the development? I think most of the people heard about it, but everyone passed. It doesn't connect with us, but I would like to say that big companies in Russia are started robotization effectively. If we speak about the companies, and the level of implementation of robotization is very high, from 10 like Sberbank, RGD, Russian Railways, and some companies that are smaller and at the stage of understanding. If we speak about Bashkortostan, I can mention UMPO. It's they are our customers. It has a very dynamic development of robotization, and some other big, massive implementation of robotization are not known in Bashkortostan. Sometimes employees don't want to work with the robots because they are afraid they will lose their job, because robots take the work partially, not fully. There weren't massive dismissal at the workplaces due to robots. If, for example, the financial part of the company was automized, and so people don't get into contact very often with such systems. And there should be a system of motivation for the robotization. So I started with the low inclusive of the top managers. I think it's a big problem, is the absence with the low temps of the robotization. I think Sberbank had a huge, rapid robotization system, because Gref personally was interested with that topic, and everything was conducted under his control. And sometimes top managers don't fully understand the importance, and as a result, work stays passive.
сталкивались с ситуацией.
Very often we face situations, for example, when the software development is are not important at our industry, or other huge big industries, and top managers don't pay needed attention. For example, so they can dismiss some interest rates, and I don't want to touch good girls, like girls that are sitting and okay, let them sit. We're not gonna do anything about it. And price for the robot development is pretty high nowadays. I think with the development of the technology, it will become cheaper and cheaper. And not every business process has to be robotized. So I would like to finish now. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Viktor Alexandrovich. And the next word I'd like to give to Alexander Lyushkanov, the founder of Rasvet Agricultural Company.
I'm the general director of Prostor company of group of companies, not Rasvet. I must apologize for this. I briefly tell about our company. We are a large company in the field of production and sales of agricultural products. In the Bashkortostan Republic, we are represented in the north of Lyushkanovsky area. We have the combined feed plants. We implement our products over the country, the whole country, in the field of cattle production. And in the north of the country, we implement the projects for 1,800,000,000 rubles. Our mission is setting up a high productive chain and implementation of the products of high quality from the farm to your table. For me, as a general director, it's important to get the operative information, and without digitalization, it's very difficult to achieve the necessary results. So from the very foundation of our company, we implement the programs and processes of digitalization. And I would like to dwell on several products here. In 2016, we have implemented the Bittrex system. I think that the majority of you know this company. It's an online platform for the work of the whole office, where all the instruments for business are collected. Here we set up the manageable projects and use it for internal communication, exchange of data, share the news, and actually provide a media where all our employees live in, and it allows us to control all the connection communications through messengers. We can process a lot of documents, and we do not need to run from one office to another, and do also the analysis and forecasting, which simplifies the whole work and allows us to exclude the mistakes. This Bittrex system implemented the system for controller work, improved the discipline of personnel, and vacate the time for attention of management to important issues. As to the plants growing part of our business, we implement The capitalization since 2014 of our company, capitalization of our company has grown 20 times. AgroSignal is another product which we have implemented in plants growing. It's a mobile application which allows to work effectively in all the segments of our company, beginning from planning of seeding and up to the work of the machinery. And we provide all the group working plans and analyze this planning. Each manager, we have 5 top managers, and our central office can see everything, and online we can take all these decisions very fast. It allowed us to reduce the costs by 30% by now, and improve the outcome for 20% in plants growing. And we are the dealer now. We have concluded the dealership agreement with this company, and we implement it. Dairy Comp is another system, complex system on management of cattle. Its main task is the increase of profitability of cattle and increase the production of milk. We have got that we have a lot of different products, and they are all different and they are not integrated. So due to this situation, we have taken a decision to implement the complex digitalization with Bashinformsvязь. We have developed a project, AgroRost. We have analyzed it actively. We took part with it in Skolkovo grants. We have won this grant of Skolkovo. Then the committee of Skolkovo have approved it unilaterally, and today the cost of this grant is 137 million rubles, and the collection of key data, the digitalization, provision of throughout process for their management is very, very profitable for us. It allows us to solve our key tasks and consolidate the whole information from various sources. And as you can see from this module, AgroRost is a unique program and unique product which unifies several single modules into one system and allows to have a block of forecasting, and management of plant diseases up to machinery management, etc., etc. All the information is translated to the one center of decision making, and also allows to manage the production chains, allowing to synchronize all the business processes. As you can see from this slide, the technical architecture of this today, we have many sources of data translating the information into one analytical module, and then this module develops the solutions, decisions, and for us as managers, top managers, it's very important for us to be able to have to take timely decisions, and we can improve our mistakes very, very fast. And this also will help us to take our management solutions, decisions even more operatively. Our task as formation and getting true data about the activity of the holding, also automate the key processes, budgeting, salaries, calculation of supplies and payments, etc. Operative preparation of reporting, exact planning based on the analysis of the past periods, also focusing the results, the products, etc., etc. For me, it's very, very important to have precise data. Due to this project, we have improved the effectiveness of our plants growing, the milk farming also decrease the costs and have the productivity, higher productivity of the company. My personal experience shows that digitalization was a very positive factor for our group of companies, and we believe that digitalization of the company in the agricultural sector is a necessary condition for better operations. Thank you very much. All my sessions here I hold in live dialogue. How much time did it take from the 0 point when the client approached you and when you got the results? We didn't even notice this time because it was very, very fast to develop this project for 2 or 3 months. The issue is here the selection of right decisions, and the main time was taken by getting approvals for the grants, and this process is not yet finalized. There are many obstacles which are with the influence of the current situation influence this process. It's important to understand that the work itself, when it is, when you do it fast, it is fast. And our colleagues, gave us set goals very, very fast, and the approvals, yes, they take time, and you have to be ready for that. Thank you.
I'd like to give a word to Poletayev Kirill, head of the directorate, CEO of the For Dialogue JSC. Please welcome. Okay, thank you very much. Can I have the remote, please? Thank you. To be honest, I was listening with high interest because it was our customer, and all our powers and work were in that direction. More we have such participants in future, I think our sessions will become more interesting. I'd like to speak about our association, as Rasul Rafanirovich mentioned before. The idea was born in 2016, and it was formed formally in 2019. But before, I would like to speak more about our company, why For Dialogue, and why this idea was discussed with our company. The group company of Ford was born in 1989. It was first of the post-Soviet companies. The staff was like 350 personnel, and it was highest IT company in Bashkortostan. And for the last 10 years, we are in the top 25 systemic integration of companies of the Russian Federation. And around the Republic of Bashkortostan, including Tatarstan, Udmurtia, of course, Chuvashia, Mariel. and we have a new office in Moscow. Company does mostly engineering and digital solutions and work for the companies that have a very huge experience with working with these customers. And I think we would like to have an association around the Ford Dialog company, starting with the Republic of Bashkortostan. So the idea was born. And in 2017, we established the IT Association of Republic of Bashkortostan, and we started to invite other companies there. Our main goals of these associations develop the sale branch of the company, so it can be not only in Republic of Bashkortostan, so all our customers can be territorially open their own branches. They have different divisions, and it's important to go outside not only of Republic of Bashkortostan, but even beyond the Russian territory of the Russian Federation. And with the help of the IT Association, it's really easy to consolidate and participate in Republican forums, company forums. We didn't used to have such forums like now in a huge frame like this. We had our separate sites about the digitalization. We never had it, so we had to create our own forums. Of course, having these modern formats for participations is a very huge advantage for us and helps us to save some money. And the creation of the ecosystem of cooperation, when we are at one site, we know each other, we know our possibilities, we can unite and create some new unique solutions. And of course, the important task is to receive the grants and subsidiaries to develop the IT technologies. We have the IT technologies, but to find a customer is try to make some other solutions, and then with the ready projects to be able to go to the customer. Anyway, our association consists of successful IT companies of Republic of Bashkortostan with a staff more than 1,000 personnel and the annual income with more than 1 million ruble. To be honest, not all the companies are mentioned here on the slide of the IT. I did another presentation about on the import substitution and the tasks of the digitalization. Okay, of course, the agricultural system, they're using the Russian IT products, but most of our customers are based on the Western equipment, and the question of the import substitution now is highly important. Substitution import. So first is our company. We have solutions on changing the such analogs like Siemens, Simatic, WinCC. Polygon is also a member of our association. Telic company and Western, including American, they already left. For example, Lexema, Victor already had a speech today, and is a member of our association since the beginning. They have a unique product that's called Lexema RPA. It's a system that can change the Western analogs like SAP solution. Medialux company, so it's a Russian paperwork company. SPL is a company to create local systems, local networks. Also, we have an Integro company, one of the best developers of the systems, and we have a lot of different systems. That's Tegregion, that would create wonderful websites for the government websites. As you can see the QR code on the presentation, it will transform you to the catalog of solutions, and you'll face the different types of companies that are in our association, different products and different solutions for the projects. And we also had a demo zone. It's very hard to speak with the customer about on the IT solutions, and these are very well shown this complex. And the actuality was started with the beginning of the special operation. Our companies are hardly trusted, and we did a demo zone. We invited participants and other customers, and you can see we demonstrated more than 70 solutions on the substitutional import substitution, and they came from the different sites. These are events on the import substitution, as UTP. They were presenting mostly on the Western vendors, and a lot of companies had received already made lines, and all the thing was left to do is to start the work. And it's costed not only million, but it cost billions with a B. And they also participated in such projects, were providing us with a team starting the now. But for the following years, customers need to create their own policy, including their own accentuating on different topics, and etc. These questions are very modern and very necessary. It's not only security of the current data. We know what is the situation in the world. The bridges are blown. We need, but nowadays customers' attitude for security was increasing higher and higher. Of course, perimeter of the people is like 15 kilometers. You can't provide good security, and that's when the new modern technology comes into play. And the actuality of the informational security and about the international cooperation. Our company works in cooperation with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and they had trip to Uzbekistan, and last year and this year very good ministry of the Ministry of Digitalization. We have a branch in Uzbekistan that helps us to work at their market with a parallel import. And this year we went to Iran. The task was to see how the country avoids sanctions for the decades, and we learned a lot of useful information there. And I'm very thankful to the government for such opportunity. That's one of our projects, our association we did for Uzbekistan with the company Uzbek Пространство. So it's a site of the oil development called Shortan Digital Place Birth. And the next stage of our development of our company, of our association, first of all, is we see the participation, the communication with the Rostelecom company. And for the last year, we had a discussion. We met on sites of the project office of the Rostelecom, and we can see that having that project office of the Rostelecom and the resource that were given, plus our competence, like local help with the local companies and the IT companies that grown here. They know the market, they know our customers, and of course the competence of the federal Rostelecom Federal, as was mentioned before, their attitude for the grant policy, it may have a synergetic effect for the customer, including and can guarantee the security for the digital development, and they give warrant guarantee for the reliable partners, which is very important, mentioning the hard times that are going now, some anti-crisis events and the problem with the finance that appears sometimes. So the aim for this cooperation is to rapid the process of digitalization between our companies. So we will not compete with each other, but we could develop this process together as one company, and will benefit all the interested companies here. Thank you for the attention. Thank you very much. I'd like to give a word to Petr Klotz, Head of Directorate of Federal Service for State Registration, Cadastre and Cartography, Rosregister in the Republic of Bashkortostan. Thank you.
Dear Rasul Rafanirovich, dear colleagues of this participants of this session, I want to say that it's not by chance that our organization is taking part in this session. Together with Minцифра of Russia, we have also managed to improve the relations in making the cadastre for us resources, and we cooperate with the territorial bodies and interested parties on the side of Rostelecom. And as far as I remember, 3 centers are there in Moscow region on this site, processing the data which we as suppliers provide. I will show you several slides. I hope that it will be interesting for you as soon as there are specialists, IT specialists. Nevertheless, I will show you how Rosregister has done digitalization in the last years. According to the presidential decree, we got a very high goal on digitalization of our organization. And if we compare 18 years we lived before and the last 4 years are very, very different. And you can also feel this positive changes. And the mission of Rosregister in the framework of digitalization is socially oriented. It's focused on quality, cutting the timing, and client orientation. In the framework of this principle, internally we have taken the internal program of client focus on clients, and it tells that we have to implement the best client practices and provide the high-level data and services on their basis. Rosregister has made a step in digitalization of the archives. 60% has been already transformed into the electronic form, and the next step is the paper. When we don't get the paper documents on paper from the processing center, regional processing centers, and it allows us to quickly communicate with our applicants. We have also improved the national system of spatial data. Also, there are many registers of forest resources, of water resources, etc., of land, and the national system of spatial data has been created, which will very soon unify all the data in this one informational resource, so that it was convenient for people to work with this informational resource. It starts with the cards and maps, city planning, etc., which is practically combined with these systems, and there will be one system for spatial data and for mapping, for maps. I think that it will be interesting for the participants. More than 54% of the services in the Republic of Bashkortostan is provided in an electronic form. As to our cooperation with the local bodies, we get all the information from them electronically, and we have also added here about 20 different types of communication, which we do electronically now, and legal entities have been involved in this work, and in the framework of the new federal law, in the portfolio of Rosregister, all the documents will be supplied electronically. It will be the next level, which will allow us to cut the time and the costs for provision of this information. The socially important information for our clients, 75% getting towards total, from the total amount is electronically provided. And we get these documents for registration. Lower, you can see the mortgage. The target goal is 80%, but we have not yet achieved it, though we are trying to comfortably reach this 80% anyway. As to the mortgage electronically, we need to get this registered in 24 hours, and we managed to process such documents. Formerly, it was 20 days which were spent for registration of these applications and registering the real estate mortgages provided for real estate. But now we do it within 24 hours. For those who are interested in getting the mortgage. What we are working on, the development of the registration information systems. It's the single digital platform, single electronic mapping basis, which has proved to be a very, very good system. Federal portal of spatial data, which is also working with our regional fund, although we are sending this data to the federal fund, so that all this data were collected in one single system. As to the services, on this slide you can see the real estate objects and the land for city planning, the cadastre, which is going to be the digital way of studying these documents. Another system, another service is my living, my residence. It's going to be implemented in 2023 and unite in one side both the seller and the buyer. It will help to find the necessary real estate objects. It will also help to get the electronic signage of all the agreements, and all the data will be within the register, and it will be very, very fast processed. So I just mentioned several types of this work, but it's not going to be a far story. It's going to be implemented already in the next year. And our cooperation with Mincifra of Russia, we have implemented a number of projects, and today you can get the extract from the register of real estate, from the Госуслуги site website, and certain types of applications can be processed there, and also the service residences will be accessible there. And well, the documents will be accepted, stopped, renewed, etc., etc. All these processes will be actually organized through electronically, and the cadastre, accounting will be done through the Госуслуги website, and it will be very, very comfortable for the users. What is very important for our republic is the land for construction. Our head of republic issued a decree to get the Russian register, to get approved and coordinated with the Russian register, all this information, and the construction of multi-family blocks and all other construction will be on a map, so that any interested person in the Russian Federation could apply for provision of the land plots for construction, so that it was also coordinated with the law, the Russian law. Land for tourism, land for construction. Other projects, we have identified 5 land plots for tourism, the centers for attraction of tourism, and next to the centers, it will be possible to erect some light structures for travelers to come there to watch, to enjoy the nature there, and these 5 land plots are also now placed on the cadastre map, so that the foreign travelers also could use this service. A couple of words about the increase of the share of services in electronically form, implementation on the territory of the Republic of the spatial data, also full and quality filling of the data in EGRN, and so and doing it in 24 hours. Thank you very much for your attention. We are going forward in digitalization process. Thank you very much. We have another 5 minutes. Traditionally, there are some questions from the audience. We need to have a live dialogue and your answers. Head of the marketing department of Roscifra, IT engineering. We are involved in engineering and implementation of IT solutions for civil construction. And now we Rather recently, we started to exist as well, an independent vendor of solutions of input substitution solutions. And my questions, I have 3 questions to Sergey. First one, whether we can consider at the company implementation of such services as Bittrex one as the first stage of digitalization, or it's better now having as a goal digitalization of the company. We need to start from another thing, from another way, differently. When you have already the business processes thought out, and there is some basis of understanding how we should do it, and who are the agents of changes within the company to follow this digitalization, to make it complex within the company. Well, you need to start with a strategy where the company goes. Why do you need this digitalization? And the system is not the most important thing. In the first place, you need to understand your goal, where you are moving towards. Who is going to do? If there are no owners, shareholders, the top management, then nothing will, who are interested in digitalization, then nothing will happen. You can see, well, sometimes top managers are not interested what people are doing down on the ground, so to say. It's and in the new companies, it's also a problem. It happens very quickly. There is a small group of people, and the managers are not getting interested in what is done and how it is done. And perhaps on the stage of setting up a company, you can start with digitalization. It seems to me it doesn't make sense to create a non-digital company from the very beginning. There is another question to the association. Kirill, many associations just get the money for participation, for lobbying some projects, and there is a lot of air and very little business. Members of the association well pay their fees, and how does your association work? This is a direct question to you. Do you charge your members? Yes, certainly. We certainly get their membership fees, but they are quite symbolic. When you name the figure, they say, is it a monthly fee? No, it's an annual fee. We have a platform where we meet, so it gets it even cheaper, because this money is spent on some coffee, on some well, but we are not lobbying. Actually, we have the Ministry of Digital Development. We have the person, chief person, who is interested in the development of IT companies in the Republic of Bashkortostan. He helps us very much, and due to his energy and his effort, we develop. Now we have set up the committee at the Ministry of Industry, and we hope that the here we sort of provide the access to the bodies, state governmental bodies. It's great that we have some agricultural companies as participants. And I hope that at the Ministry of Industry, this committee will help us to enter the industrial companies, offering them more actively the funds. And it seems to me that this year, the next year, and the year after the next year, they are going to be very productive years, because the money before was spent somewhere else, and many companies didn't have enough orders, so they didn't do any digitalization within their companies. But nowadays we can see they have money, they are growing, and the cost of labor is growing. People are getting higher salaries, and as soon as the salaries are higher, it means that they are competing for people, for personnel. Before they would say, well, automation or design, BIM system, well, it's not for us. We will get the designers, and they will do it by their head and minds and hands. And nowadays, they already are thinking about automation of their production. And I hope that in the coming years, we're going to implement this. Thank you. And the final question, if there are no questions from the audience. Sergei Konstantinovich, I know that the largest companies started having events which business missed the Suppliers' Day event when you are working with the suppliers of services existing there. Do you plan to make these suppliers' days in Bashkortostan, when this association or startups or clients may come and in the format of live dialogue talk to you, and you can find your own suppliers and participants? We are all, you do not need to wait for anything. We are all very open, and you can always approach us. We are open every day. You should not need for some special day to get received. You always can talk to us. Well, we are short of time by now. I must apologize. Here, I have a limited number of names here on my list. So if you want to speak, please come and introduce yourself. Good day. Thank you for the opportunity to talk.
There is a difference to the 50 degrees, like this happened in the last 9 hours. My name is Kuznetsov Denis. I'm the CEO of the BMR system and founder of BMR system. And we developed the mounting system for nowadays. We're suggested to develop 2 standards for the construction industry. First of all, I'm going to show you 3 minutes video clip that was recorded by my voice. Unfortunately, I'm sorry for that in advance. And if I'm going to have another extra couple of minutes, I'm going to speak about the differences of the systems, what advantages and it gives for the complex tracing of the economical resources from the stage of projecting and till the end on the industries, companies, and buildings. Thank you. You did it for centuries. Wasting time. Now it's time to change. BMR system, saving your time. We created a digital system that forms a digital twin for developing and making the control, projecting, keep storaging, and from any part of the world. At the stage of the project, it has a 2-stage identification BMR. It also recognizes the markers using the mobile apps. The system is integrated into drone cameras, even uses the glasses of virtual reality. And it requires for the constant control of the work. Interactive mount scheme allows to trace all the process on the construction site. the defect is not very huge, and the place of every scanned element is located within the centimeter. And MR system allows to analyze the system, and the system reduces the amount of mistakes, and we can control the incoming traffic, transport, and we can check the amount of mistakes that have been made, and control the mounting process itself. And we also use the BMR system to control the employees for mounting, determining the location in different lines. Gives full day control of the system. So this was a short video presentation. I'll give a few explanations. It's not a QR code, because the first time when you saw the QR code, they very often say that guys have very funny QR codes. It's a robot vision. And what's the differences of the basic algorithms? We can determine the distance and the location up to marker. First of all, we were developing a system for the construction. The very first was the storage facility, and the metal construction is like a unique product, and you can see that all the elements can be traced. It's heavy up to 100 tons, and it's a very hard to work with. And working with the project, we decided to create a new system that became a BMR system. We tried different technology, TRID, QRs are not good. We can't qualify the mounting process. We started with foreign softwares, continue with Russian, with some angle locations, and afterward we check the correction of the mounting using very simple systems like Androids, and it received a high appreciation and abroad, and we tried to implement it into Russian companies. Last year we participated in 7 and we won 4 out of 7 competitions, and we're working with the market, and we receive more application. So we changed from the control of construction to form the digital twins, with giving it to the 3D models, transferring of aggregates, its angles on the construction industry. It's not import. Depend on import. Of course, the language of programming, and nobody will forbid us to use the programming language. So you can check if you want to learn more information. Check out our website, or ask me any questions, or you can address me or address Rostelecom. Thank you for noticing our system. We will be happy. We will be glad to hear it. And we're moving thanks to implementation, thanks to system of coordinates. And it's a step to robotize the process of mounting of the metal framings. The markers, the components can be marked any, like cable or the facade or any constructional element. Thank you. That's cool in language. How much time did it take to from the idea to implementation of the app? How much did it take? 3 years. And how many people worked? More than 20 people been working on this. Very cool, and I'd like to have a remark. Denise is a special guest here. We also noticed the system, and we're conducting the discussion with the different customers, and what is the beauty of cooperation. So everyone who raised your hands and said you're IT developers, we would like to welcome you to our market, because the market of digitalization is huge. We're all gonna have our own share. and sometimes the amount of work is so big we can't even can manage it all. And sometimes people don't fully understand the works, and together we can explain it to them. Then it's a very cool topic, and we would like to continue work with you. And in some regions they already worked with us, so we highly recommend them. And as I said, any startups do good. The knowledge is low. The amount of knowledge is low because we use like a machine to industry implementations, because so digitalization must be rapid and must. And I would like to add that we have ABI, and we are for it to integrate existing systems, and we are ready to implement to any ERP system, and we will do it. And our task is to give the core so we can develop different softwares around the world and in Russia. Thank you very much. That's very cool, and you're open to people. And I would like to invite Pak Kirill, CCO at Cable Runner. That is on the digitalization or infrastructure of the, and it has a worldwide experience. Please pass the remote control. Thank you.
I would like to take some of your time telling you about the project of construction of underground communication for water removal. Let me tell you just, well, our technology is something which is not made by anyone here in Russia. We can bring the communication to any building where there is a water supply or a sewage system. Our technology allows to provide the internet communication within the pipes of the diameter from 300 millimeters up to 900 and more millimeters. This is the only non-destructive technology certified in Russia, which has all the approvals, and we have already divisions in Moscow and St. Petersburg. And as compared to standard technologies, when someone needs to dig out the pits, etc., we can do it much cheaper and faster round the year in the pipes of big diameter. It may be done by our workers, and in this small diameter pipe, it can be done by robots, or and these pipes are also sanated. Also, our technology allows to unfold the 5G network in the city conditions, because we can bring the communication to any type of towers, because in big cities there are the systems of rain removal and also sewage systems and water supply, and well, it can be done and placed 400 or 500 meters from one another. And we believe that it would be interesting, first of all, for doing it quickly, doing it on a good quality level, see it's secure. Also, in the historical cities of Russia, we are not going to destroy any historical sites or monuments, as it is normally done in the centers of European cities. Cyril, can you show us the robots which are placing the cable and tell us about the Vienna, the fact that this technology was born in Vienna and in the countries where it is represented, some pilot zones, and how it is taking place. You can see that below there is the robot which places the pipes, the cables into the pipes from 1 meter to some 600 millimeters. It works together with our colleagues. There is no problem to get it transferred to Russia, although it is done on the experience, on the basis of the experience of our colleagues in Austria. This technology is used over Europe, and it is also implemented in Asian countries. Currently, the size of this cable networks is several thousand kilometers. The pilot zone in Moscow, St. Petersburg, have all the approvals, and this technology is in the list of innovational technologies of the city of Moscow, which can also be used at construction of any object in the city of Moscow. Are you going to offer it to the government or to the private partners? It can be implemented both by government, by municipalities, by private investors. It's very, very interesting. Let's talk more later. You can see the colleagues, how it is taking place when the companies come and due to sharing their practices, they can find the horizontal dialogue open, honest, and which can improve our regions, our cities. Thank you for coming here. Maybe not sleeping nights. Thank you for your participation and for your work, dear colleagues.